program is proudly brought to you by Datec PNG Limited.
In this session of Infocus, we speak to the Chief Executive Officer for Datec PNG, Pratham Talukdar, and later on we speak to a representative from Cloud Sigma, Sujeto Jijadi. Mr. Pratham Talukdar, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malcolm, and it's a pleasure to be here in Infocus, a channel that is being followed very largely by everyone in Papua New Guinea. And I think for the first time I'm actually being in the studio, though we had people from Datec representing at various occasions. But it's glad and it's an honor and a privilege that to be invited to have certain strategic discussions around our data center and AI workload infrastructure that we are building. So it's an absolute pleasure to be with you today in this show. Thank you so much.
Now, Pratham, you've just taken over as Chief Executive Officer for Datec PNG Limited. How have you found the role so far?
Yeah, I mean, it has been, I would say it's been an honor and a privilege to lead Datec. And I would love to thank the board, our chairman, our group stakeholders, Telecom, for this appointment, which is very prestigious for me, and it comes with a lot of added responsibilities. Datec this year celebrates 40 years of its existence. So we started in 1986. And as we celebrate the 40 years of anniversary, there are certain strategic initiatives that the board is looking at for me to drive. So we call this as Vision 2030. So there's a 5-year vision. And within this 5-year vision, we need to achieve certain things that would propel Datec PNG to be in the summit of being the biggest and the largest ICT service provider in this country. So when I came in the last 2.5 months that I have been in the post, I think there's been a lot of changes that we brought in. The first has been how would employees react to the vision that we are building in. So it took me a bit of time to go to all my employees to have an outreach, make them understand, hold one-to-one discussions, build the leadership teams, and say that, look, this is how we are going to go in the next 5 years. It's a journey that is very bold, and I would love to welcome every possible employee to come to the journey. And I think the response that I have got for the last 12 months is so super thrilling. I think the employees have understood and enjoyed the journey that we're going to take, the challenges that will be ahead of us in terms of various stuff that is going to be thrown to us. And what stands very proudly, I would say, is that I think in this last 2.5 months, we have all gelled together as one single unit. The collaboration is very strong. If you look at the collaboration that we have built with our sister organizations, with our group stakeholders, has been at the optimum best that we can say. Even the collaboration that we are doing at the board level with our directors, with our chairman, has been very consistent. And I think with everyone being together in the same boat, we have been able to sail it very professionally and in a prominent way. So excited to be in this position and obviously to take this organization to the next decade, end of this decade, is something that is quite an honor. And I would only thank my stars, number one, and then thank the board and the management for giving this opportunity to run. So it's been one wonderful journey so far, and I look forward to the rest of the journey as I continue to build the momentum for Datec in the market as well.
Now, Pratham, as you mentioned, Datec has just celebrated its 40th anniversary. Since coming to Papua New Guinea, how would you describe the local ICT market in PNG and how it has evolved so far?
A great question. In fact, if you look at the 40 years of existence that we started to talk about, during the times, IT used to be more about standalone. It was about computers. It was about a standalone server. It would talk about, things which are very standalone. You look at the rapid change of IT and technology that has happened in this world. Maybe 40 years ago, we never had a mobile phone. Today, not only mobile phones, we actually have a mobile phone capable of doing every task that a normal desktop or a laptop can perform. You can check your emails, you can upload photographs on your social media, you can do everything that is there. So the scalability of technology has been evolving at such a rapid, it's a very rapid, progressive intake. And for Datec, we have started to be in that journey as well. From being a standalone organization who used to sell laptops, servers, or infrastructure to upskilling us in terms of data science, in terms of AI, in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of cloud data center. That's been a massive, massive growth. So I think the country of PNG is well poised to be at par with the global organizations or global technology providers that they provide those kind of solutions across the globe. And I think with us in this 40th year journey, we are able to build that momentum. So we are seeing a rapid change from an old IT structure to a remarkable, more managed infrastructure, consulting, IT, AI, etc., being built on. And that's where DataTech is actually progressing in. And I think the whole country of PNG is also progressing in the same front. AI has just become and changed every way that a person's personality and organization's stature looks like. And I think that's where we are heading into. And we are building those blocks. And today, organizations in PNG not only come to us to buy the standalone equipments, they come for consulting in IT, they come for ISO certifications, they come for learning centers to upgrade their skill sets, they come to us when it comes to any kind of an ERP software implementation, they come for SOC, NOC implementations, apart from also building the infrastructure for all the government SOEs and the banks as well. So it's been massive transformation that we see DataTech that has done from the first year of inception to the current year of inception and the era that we are going to follow after this. So it's massive.
As a subsidiary of Telecom Limited, what role and position do you foresee for DataTech moving forward?
We will work very closely with Telecom. So Telecom has a very impressive network across the country. They have the towers, they have connectivity, they have the mobile network, they have the MPLS network. And for technology to be in all those locations or the 22 provinces, we need a very robust connectivity coming into play. So our collaboration with Telecom is very simple. So while Telecom would bring on customers on board which would need connectivity, the infrastructure side is what DataTech can build in terms of what Telecom brings in. And in my last couple of months, in my close associationship with our group CEO, with the chief commercial head, with the marketing, as well as the technical guys, I think we have devised a scope of work which will allow DataTech and Telecom to be going together to customers and presenting one unified solutions, which will talk about everything under one IT stack. So whether they want to buy a laptop, whether they want an internet connection, they want a SIM card, whether they need a mobile phone, whether they need any kind of software licenses to run their applications, etc., or they want to host in our cloud data center, everything would be on one single basket. So they all need to come to us to procure that or to implement that. So that's exciting because if you look at today's scenario in PNG, no one is actually offering that as one single basket, right? There are organizations, but they go separate ways. But if you look at the technical capabilities that DataTech bring, the capabilities that Telecom bring, and if we can, and we have started to marry them together, that is a massive proposition, not only for the government, for the corporates, for the banks, for the various mining resources organizations that are coming on board, and we are extremely excited to see what lies ahead of us.
You've just recently launched a new data center that you'll be building alongside your partners.
Yes.
For most of our viewers who may not be familiar with what a data center is, could you explain for them?
Yes, a data center is the backbone of digital economy, right? So today, whatever we are doing on the phone or a laptop, any application, they run from data centers across the globe. So what typically a data center composes of is where you have compute, storage, you have the connectivity. These three, the power is uninterrupted 24/7. So these 4-5 elements form the crux of a data center, right? And from the data center, you can then use any of the local connectivity, international connectivity, be it internet, MPLS, and all the technical stuff that I don't want to most elaborate, to go and connect to anywhere. So by combining this combined force, we have decided to build a data center which is very sovereign, which means that the data of any customer resides within the proximities and parameters of the country of PNG. So traditionally, if you look at, we do have data centers, but we do not have data centers which are in hyperscale in this country. Most of the data from the government or the banks today resides in offshore countries, right? And there is a limitation to redundancy, there is a limitation to connectivity, latency, and so forth. So we are going to minimize that by bringing that network into the country with our own data center and allowing customers to host it. That's by minimizing the cost of connectivity. The latency drops down magnificently, and they get a better, super efficient, platform to exhibit their applications.
I mean, what opportunities will it provide for local businesses and perhaps the government as a whole as well?
Yeah, I think the government, one of them would be the cost implication. I think the cost is a very important factor. The second thing for, for PNG, it's going to be that we are going to hire a lot of local talent to drive this adventure into the cloud and AI platform. We are announcing a graduate development plan starting in April. So we'll be taking a lot of graduate intakes who will be utilized in this data center, AI, and so in the cloud infrastructure projects. So employment is one, the cost efficiency is number two. Then you have a company that is very local. So if you look at telecom, it's a local son of the soil. If you look at Datec, it's a local PNG company. So everything is local. So it's a big achievement for a local company based out of PNG to develop a data center of that stature and to offer that services to government for efficiency, cost reduction, flexibility, one single point of contact, etc., etc. And for PNG, people, it's an opportunity for them to come on board with Datec and Telecom to see how they can contribute to the success of this data center. This data center is just the beginning because we have already got a second data center coming up in Solomon Islands. We are partnering with the Solomon Islands government. We are in discussion with them to build a similar data center. We'll also be moving into a third country in 2027. So our cluster doesn't stop only in PNG. It also moves into the global Pacific Islands scenario. So we'll be adding new countries in the next, which is a part of the Vision 2030 document that I'm talking about. And by that time, you will see that there is a humongous opportunity for the PNGs, not only to learn and understand and get employment, but to lead in the countries in the Pacific. So that gives them an ample opportunity for them to drive their positions, their recruitment, their employment and leadership skill sets into a lot of other countries in the Pacific as well. So that's a very ambitious project that we and Telecom have put together for the next 5 years. And we are excited to see the first one of that project going live in this financial year itself.
Now, inevitably, there will be concerns around data privacy and data sovereignty. Mm-hmm. What assurances can you give to the public?
This data center is purely built on data sovereignty. It's where our data is going to completely reside in this country and there is no offloading of this data anywhere in the world. And we are also, building a second data center that is also coming up in Leh, which means that this data center, the primary data center, would also have, we do have a backup already, but we'll have a third backup all in this country as well. So geographically different location. So that implies that the data is never going to go out of this country. So it's always going to reside within the parameters and the fortress of PNG. And that's the resilience that we are building in, I think. What our partner Cloud Sigma, who is actually building the cloud stack, does it complies with the global standard, the European standard that spoke about before this conversation happened. So the European Union has a framework for data sovereignty, and Cloud Sigma actually tick marks all that important protocols. There are 8 protocols which are important to be a part of the data sovereignty in the European nations. And Cloud Sigma actually ticks marks on everything. So when they bring that services into PNG, we are complying not only with the PNG Sovereignty Act, but we are also complying with the European Sovereignty Act as well, which is a part of the European framework of data sovereignty. So it's a dual game that we are playing, and this will assure all customers across PNG that this is what we are compiling. In fact, in the roadshow that we had on Friday, you can actually see there was a capability display that was done by Datec, by myself, and there was a capability presentation that was even done by Cloud Sigma. And I think if you combine that, I think the customers are very enthusiastic. They want to see when soon we can go live because it meets all the specific requirements under the PNG Data Sovereignty Act. And that's where we are complying to. That's why we call it always as PNG's first sovereign and AI data center.
Data centers are by design very energy intensive, as it requires a lot of electricity to operate. Given the challenge of access to reliable and adequate supply of electricity in Papua New Guinea, how do you intend to overcome this challenge?
Yes, so a very important question because any data center typically in the world would need 100% uptime. It needs 100% uptime on power. It needs 100% uptime in terms of cooling. It needs 100% uptime in terms of connectivity. These are the backbone on which data centers are built across the globe. In our new data center, we obviously have the primary source, which is our PNG power, which is already there, but we have built massive redundancy on the current infrastructure to ensure that there is never a loss of downtime, or there is a downtime in terms of electricity or current. So we have two massive generators, and if you calculate the energy levels combining to these two generators that we have built in and put in place, it's almost close to 1 megawatt of connectivity of energy, which is very good for the first phase of the project that we are doing in. On top of it, there would be UPSs, which will offer redundancy in terms of ranging from 4 to 8 hours, and obviously the generators which are there. We are also in talks to include a third generator, which will be not diesel driven, but will be a gas driven, to build another redundancy on the current redundancy that we have. So if you look at it, we have a redundancy which is coming from diesel, the generator. We have a third generator which is going to come and run on the gas. On top of it is a UPS, and obviously you have the electricity. So with that, we should be 100% sure to mitigate any risks that might be seen coming from the energy or the electricity, because that's the most critical, that's the heart of the data center. And we have also taken into account that it's cost sensitive, because when you're investing on such energy high level infrastructure, the cost also escalates. But we are building the solution and the pricing in a way that it becomes very cost effective, and the customers would love to come and insert their resources into a data center and enjoy the services that this data center is going to bring into the table.
Mr. Sujeto Jayadi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Firstly, Sujeto, what is the core business for Cloud Sigma?
Yeah, Cloud Sigma, it's a technology software company. We focus on the building the sovereign cloud worldwide. We are European-based, and we've been in industry for 17 years. We operate in 17 countries, and at this moment, we are operating about 30 cloud nodes. Our focus is really on the building with the local partners, sovereign cloud.
Now, could you tell us about the innovative solutions that your company offers specifically for the Pacific market and socioeconomic setting?
Yeah, so absolutely. If you look at the cloud, the data center, the AI, and all of those things, I think as we are progressing, those particular technology cannot be get away. To be able to continue to develop, it's required a very basic, I should not say basic, but it should be a very robust digital infrastructure. So to be able to build those, that's the core expertise of the Cloud Sigma. What we've been building 15 years, what we continue to develop, it will fit into the country, that the size, the model, the operation, exactly like for Papua New Guinea. The reason it's due to the geographical challenges, due to the market size. We're building those, the technology that very robust, very flexible, and reliable, secure. So that's what we are delivering, and in partnership with the DATEC as well as Telecom, the digital infrastructure for the country to move forward in the era of the artificial intelligence.
How would you describe the prevalence of the use of cloud technology in Papua New Guinea?
The cloud technology has been there for quite some times. In some market, it's picking up faster. We understand the challenges in the Papua New Guinea. Some of the challenges in power it's more towards the ubiquitousness of the power resiliency, the networking, similar to that, because the cloud is requiring very, very robust power supply, very robust connectivity. But now it's, I think it's getting better. I think it's Papua New Guinea is start to picking up, And I am very, very excited with the partnership that we have with Telecom and Datec, be able to provide a really secure, really sovereign, really robust, reliable to the market.
Given that we have quite a lot of geopolitical tensions that's currently happening around the world, to what extent do you think it will apply supply chain, particularly in terms of technology and the materials that they use?
Yes. So in terms of the geopolitical, I kind of wanted to address that in two different points, different areas. Number one, it's in the area of data sovereignty. Pritam already mentioned that several times, but I just want to reiterate. Because the data itself is the national asset, something that needs to be protected. And the data bring a lot more intelligence that a lot of people can envision at this moment. With the capability of the AI, the data it's very, very valuable. So you never know what's going to happen in the geopolitical. You see that basically what happened. So building the sovereign cloud is the right thing to do at this moment. And it's especially not only for the government, but also for the enterprise customer. Yeah, because the government certainly concerned for the national security. The enterprise will be concerned the interruption into their particular business. So that's one area that we talk about, that a lot of people on geopolitical in the area of the data sovereignty. The other area is certainly on supply chain, right? Specifically, we do not know whether this supply chain is becoming a temporary trend or becoming a longer term kind of the things. Because the infrastructure built up, it's massive. So the impact is really for the smaller scale of the deployment, whereby you put in the equipment or ordering, your supply will be longer. But for us, because we are operating, we have the very good relationship with the vendor, the manufacturer, and we know how to navigate this. We've been doing this. This is what we do. This is what we always be expelled, and then we'll be able to deliver. So we, between ourselves and Datec and Telecom, will have a set date that we would like to service into the customer by mid this year. As such that, it could be a solution by itself, right? So when the customer having a challenge to procure the hardware, the equipment, to be able to continue the business, to be able to continue to build up the infrastructure for running the application, running the AI, and they're having challenge into getting the delivery and the shipment, we have the service available in the country, and then we'll be able to provision, we'll be able to deliver. It's less than half an hour.
Mr. Sujedo Chidadi, thank you for joining us.
It's an honor to be here.
Well, viewers, that ends this episode of In Focus. Do join us again next week, Monday, on our regular time slot of 7 p.m. Till then, bye for now.
This program was proudly brought to you by Datec PNG Limited.